check. Awesome. Thank you so much. Was it good? You guys like it? Cool. That was a quick little preview of January and February. I was in Southeast Asia. And then this past month, I was in Central Africa and Uganda. And now I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Woo! I'm from Denver, Colorado. And so I came out here for this, and I'm really excited. It's so inspiring to see people come out on a Saturday to pursue passions, interests, new conversations, new ideas and topics. And then I'm really inspired by the 16 students that actually put this on. Can we just give it up for them real quick? I don't know, they're all in different grades, they're all busy, they're struggling with their school and work and finals, and then I got to see a little behind the scenes yesterday and today, and they're just so passionate. They just want to bring a new conversation and topic to you guys, and so that lifts me up, gives me hope that the future of our country that are just going to be passionate, intentional about the way they live. And then the speakers we've heard so far is just so exciting. I can't believe what we've heard so far. This is me a couple weeks ago. In Uganda, we were in this little village, and we got to deliver, we actually built a well. So these kids were drinking from swamp water prior to us getting there with cows and pigs inside the water, and so we got to go drill a well for them, which was really incredible experience that just really changed my life. And then we were there, and there was 1,000 kids at this school, and we raised enough money to buy some pencils within our group, and we bought 1,000 pencils, and I was actually... For pretty much, I would say 90% of these kids, I was the first white person they ever saw. They call us Mzungus there. And it was just a really profound, because some kids will run off screaming and crying, and then I'll actually chase them to kind of use it a little bit funnier, and then the parents will be laughing, but the kids will be horrified. And then some kids just stare, and then they touch your skin, and they're just in awe. And so it's a really incredible experience, and to just be the first white person someone's seen before, or it's haunting for the rest of their life. I really don't know. It's so exciting. And I was so inspired by Aaron talking about the rocket science. He's 19 years old. And he's talking about science and space using words I was Googling while he was talking, and we're just so encouraged. And it worked perfect, because I want to give you a glimpse of what I was like when I was 19. So Aaron, space, and then here's me when I was 19 years old in college. I showed up one day to my school in Texas, and there was a thrift store in my cafeteria, and I got these kids' clothes, put them on, and went to class. I don't really understand the logic, because I look at that going what was that dude doing? So I had a sweet fanny pack, and 19 years old. So I didn't know too much about the world, and I went to school to play basketball for a sport, and I got injured, so I couldn't play. So I got a scholarship to do a study abroad program, and the same kid wearing small clothes, they're going to trust me to go abroad when I was 19. Back in 2008, and so I did it, and we went to Mexico, and then, which wasn't too intense difference from America. Then we went all the way to Thailand, so it was my first time in Thailand. And who's been to Thailand before? Raise your hand if you've been. Okay, cool. So we get there one night to Bangkok, the capital, and we're staying at this monastery with monks, and this was really new for me. I mean, just the country itself was new. And I remember we get there, it's late one night, there's monks still kind of walking around, and I walk over down this pathway to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom, and I open the door, and it's kind of when very first my bubble popped, and there was a squatty potty. If you know what a squatty potty is, congratulations. If you don't, I won't demonstrate what that might look like. And there was no toilet paper in the squatty potty, and I'm just oh my goodness, this is really happening. Why did I do this? Why did I come here? This is crazy. I'm not going to go to the bathroom for a month. That was the first thing I went to my house. I was I'm not going to the bathroom for a month. I don't care. And I don't know, I was just too shy and insecure to go ask a monk, excuse me, can you come teach me how to go to the bathroom? I went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, being human and, the biology of my body. I was you might want to try this again. So I went and opened the door, and I just thought to myself, I was what would Bear Grylls do? Do you guys know Bear Grylls? I literally said it to myself, and I won't continue that story. But anyway, so I'm here today, and so I'm 19, I get this first, cultural immersion, and just my life has changed. It's just rocked, and I get an opportunity to organize these study abroad programs. So while in Thailand, one of the gentlemen who run it asked if I want to come work for them. And my immediate, mind was, I'm going to go right back to college. That's what I do. I'm going back to school. That's what we do, And then it was well, there's this road where I have no idea where it leads to. He wants to keep me in Asia, to work in Asia, would go to the Philippines, go to Taiwan, and organize these tours for international college students. So I took that road, And it kind of opened up a whole whirlwind of what possibilities were for me. For 4 years, I took young adults all around the world, international young adults, so representing over 40 countries, and we went to over 20 countries, and it was incredible. We got to stay with host families, do volunteer work, learn about politics, learn about all these different things around the world, and I was just so blown away about what I was missing out on, what I wish someone told me when I was younger, that there's a bigger world out there. So that's what I did. After 4 years of doing this, I decided to come back to America, to the U.S., and I wanted to inspire and awaken young people to something bigger than themselves, something greater. Something I wish when I was 17, a junior in high school, someone came up to me and was like, hey, there's a really cool world out there and you can make a difference. And so that's what I do now, is I work with high school youth. I run a leadership academy at University of Denver with students all around the country. I take high school students abroad now. I believe that if we can get them abroad at a younger age, then they can go into college with more of a vision, more of a purpose. More than 80% of kids are graduating without knowing what they want to do, and that's dangerous when you're going to college to pursue without a vision. It gets tricky. And then also I'm a part-time filmmaker, so I get to tell stories of good people doing good things around the world and social activism. And it's an amazing opportunity. I still get to travel and tell stories and do videos. I still get to take high school kids abroad, but my heart is really into just going into high schools around this country and getting kids to really kind of awaken to different ideas and conversations. So one question I get asked a lot is how to change the world. So people go, BC, I want to change the world. I want to do that. Like, how do we change the world? And raise your hand if you've ever asked yourself, how do you change the world, right? Or you've heard it before, right? Yeah, we've heard it. We have these ideas. We hear some amazing speakers right now talking about it, and it's really inspiring to hear what they're doing. And so I started getting these questions from all people, all walks of life, all ages, all around the world. BC, give me some advice. How do I do this? And so I started studying the psychology of it, of why. Like over here, why do we want to change the world? Why do we have this idea that we want to make a difference, make an impact, leave a legacy? Why is the richest man in the world, Bill Gates, now spend all of his time with his foundation? All of his time now is now trying to lower the death count of kids around the world and help diseases and stuff. And so the richest guy in the world is now doing that. And on the complete opposite spectrum, some people that don't even have the wealth are still trying to make a difference. And we're starting these socially conscious companies. And there's a shift happening all around the world. I've seen it everywhere with different generations. And all of our mindsets are changing. We're thinking, how do we do business for a cause? How do we consume consciously? And how do we make a difference? And the psychology is just incredible behind it because there's so many different reasons, and we're answering those questions. But to step back over here, how do we change the world? Well, we all know it, and it starts with me. You might have heard the song, Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. You guys know it? I'm looking for the man. All right, good. So, yeah, so if you don't know it, you should. But it's an amazing song. We know that change starts with us. We've heard it before. We've seen maybe posters or Facebook things about it, or people get tattoos, and it starts with us. And so I have high school kids. Well, like, BC, I look in the mirror all the time. I'm taking selfies and doing Snapchat. I don't see the difference. I don't see the change. Like, what kind of mirror do you have to look in? And so I started to think about what the equation may be, because I'm not going to stand up here and in 12 minutes tell you what your purpose is and how to change the world. But I started thinking of equation. And since we're at Georgia Tech, which you guys are good at that, I started thinking of time travel. So I started to think, if you could travel 10 years into the future, hang out with your future self, and get some advice, some wisdom, some guidance, like that would be kind of cool. And actually you get to come back and apply it, right? Like, who would do that, right? Some of us would be like, oh, we would do that for sure, because maybe we learn a lot. And I believe we learn from our mistakes, but I think there is a lot of things that we can still learn from that experience. So the cool thing about time travel and going into the future to talk to your future self is that it's real, it exists, and it's all around us. And I believe it's called wisdom. And wisdom has been replaced, what I've seen in our culture and society, with Google. So we Google everything, right? I was Googling the entire time Aaron was talking because I didn't know half the words he was saying. So we're Googling all the time. And how do we start to come back to this beautiful source of knowledge of wisdom? And so I think of that, and I think of like, okay, so time travel is real. If we talk to people older than us and say, hey, if you were in my shoes again, if you were 25 years old again, what would you do different? And what I like to label that as is seeking a mentor. So the beginning of this process to try to change the world, to figure that out, is how do we seek mentors, seek wisdom, and be very intentional about it? How do we seek conversations with our professors or just people older? If you see someone on the street, Don't ask their age. Don't go up and ask their age if they have gray hair, but you can assume if they have gray hair, maybe. They're a little bit older than you. And going up and just saying, and asking them questions and starting conversations and learning how to like step out of that comfort zone, but really just go below the surface. And then there's different styles of it. I mean, it could be a book you read, and there just could be a relationship you build where you meet with someone once a month. And so I've seen so much growth from my mentors. Personally, my mentors have changed and shaped my life for the better. And when I was 19, this British gentleman, the one who hired me, his name's Paul Whitaker, I was a knucklehead. So obviously you saw a picture of me in a fanny pack with tight clothes. Like, there's no way this guy should have hired me, because the rest of the pool of people were like, they had college degrees and they were amazing and older than me. And I talked to Paul a couple months ago, and I was like, Paul, like, why did you trust me? I was like, I was 19, I didn't know anything about the world. And he's a British man, very few words, this man. And he goes, well, because you had a good heart. And he's like, and that's a good place to start. And he trusted me, and I had no idea, and I've just been so just blessed with that opportunity to see the world and do that from a point of not knowing anything about it. And so the mentors that have shaped my life just go so deep with me, and I think that's one of the starting points. The next is to become a mentor. So these two, so seeking a mentor and becoming a mentor, are probably two of the most profound things you can do in your life when you start to seek this idea of changing the world. I believe becoming a mentor is one of the greatest challenges you can make on yourself. It's so counterintuitive. We're always looking out for ourselves. We're always prioritizing ourselves. And to invest in someone else is just so not logical in our society sometimes. And so here's some kids that I've mentored for the last 3 years in Denver on the east side. These are my Manual T-Bolt kids. I got to give them a shout out because I love them so much. But I've been hanging out with this group since I moved back to Denver when I quit the job of traveling. And I have had more fulfillment and love and passion just fill up my life with these 3 years of these kids than anything else I've done around the world. And I can't really explain it because, it's like I said, it's not too much logical. It's just being there for these kids. As we know, depression's on the rise. Over 5,000 kids commit suicide a year in high school. And we're constantly studying this, trying to logically understand it. And it's hard and it's difficult. And a lot of my kids, they come from really, really tough backgrounds. And so it's been really powerful and an honor to be able to, I don't really even call it a mentor anymore. They're like my little brothers. And it's been really life-changing for me. And so I'm so stoked to be up here to talk about this. And I think in mentoring, you learn more about time, the world, yourself, and love, almost more than anything else I've experienced personally. I think you learn more about all the four things more than anything, maybe besides being a parent, but most of the college students want to be a parent right now, so we'll start with here. So I think right here, so time. As we know, time is the most valuable currency we have, right? It's the only thing that just, it keeps going. Money comes and goes, cars come and go, everything keeps going. But if you ask anyone on their deathbed, anyone older than you, for one piece of wisdom, I guarantee they will mention time. And they will talk to you like it's the most valuable thing in the world, which it is. Most valuable currency we have. How do we spend our time? Gandhi said, "Actions express priorities." You want to see your priorities? Look at your actions. And so, Google Maps. You're all right. That was staged. So time. The next is the world. The world. And so I think a lot of times we sit behind a computer screen or a TV screen and we see a kid go into another school and kill other kids, right? We see shootings, we see deaths, and we immediately we have an opinion. We immediately start having, that gun shouldn't be in that kid's house. Bad parenting. Gun should be in a safe. We start like throwing all these opinions out. But when you're not in it, when you're not actually in this impact, you don't understand it as much. And I believe when you become a mentor and you meet kids where they're at, their struggles they're going through, you kind of understand on a deeper level. And it's this idea of compassion. The definition of compassion is suffering with someone. So you actually can't read about it, you can't learn about it, you actually experience pain. And so you learn a lot about the world, whether it's a school shooting here or something all the way across the world that is so foreign. You start to understand this idea of compassion and empathy and where people are coming from and the struggle kids are going through right now in school and the fear they have and the mentors and the role models they don't have. Steen was incredible. Like I would love to see Steen just speaking to girls' lives all throughout high schools. Because her story and her mission is so powerful. And the next is yourself. So this discovery, the greatest journey we'll ever go on is the one within ourselves, right? So we're always trying to discover, like, why we wake up in the morning. Why do we do what we do? And I think it helps the world, time, yourself. You're always trying to discover why you're here today. Like Sean was saying, why are we wearing these clothes? We're putting little stickers up on the poster board of why we're here today. Why are we giving our Saturday to come sit in these seats for a couple hours? There's so many things we can be doing, right? So I already know you guys are leaders. I already know you're here intentionally wanting to learn and grow. And the next is love. Everyone knows what love is, right? All right, so all you need is love, right? So we talk about love a lot. We talk about love and, is it kindness? Is it this? There's different types of love, different forms, different ways of measuring love. What I've learned around the world and what I've done, I learned the way you measure love, I believe, is through sacrifice. If you think about someone in your head that loves you the most, it might be a family member, it might be a parent, but I think love is measured in sacrifice, what they've sacrificed for you. We know our parents have sacrificed a lot for us to be sitting in a college campus right now and do whatever we've been doing. And so you always think about that. So sacrifice. And when you're sacrificing your time, your energy, your money, college kids right now sitting in this room, like, I'm a full-time student, I'm working full-time, there's no way I can mentor some kid. And I want to just redefine, I really want to be up here and just redefine this idea of changing the world, about seeking a mentor and wisdom, and becoming a mentor is we might have this stigma in our head. When we think of mentoring, it's helping an inner city little kid that, we helping them with math or English. And there's so many different forms. So I really want to redefine how mentoring could be with my high school kids. We go to basketball games. Sometimes we just hang out and cause trouble, but sometimes we go and help communities out and we clean people's yards and stuff like that, and it's pretty fun. And we have adventures, and maybe that's not your style. Maybe you do want to go sit in a classroom and teach kids sports or teach kids education. And there's so many different things, and so I just want to redefine what mentoring is. And then back to changing the world. So we have seeking a mentor and becoming a mentor. Two things I've learned that really help people try to get back to this point right here. I want to make a difference. I want to change the world. I want to do something greater than myself. I want to leave a legacy. And it's a big question. It's something we might be asking ourselves every single day. How do we do that? Why do we do it? And I don't know what your reason is, and I don't know why you're here today, but I know these two things have shaped and shipped so many amazing things of my life and other people's lives that I've seen. And one thing I want more to talk about is experiences over relationships. So we travel, and I've had the amazing opportunity and privilege to build wells around the world, to help build orphanages, to help build hospitals, to help build schools, all around the world, amazing experiences that I value. But what I've learned is when I build a school and I build a relationship with the kids and the teacher in that school, then that's really what matters. That's the point where it's like, man, that school has now a part in my heart. And I believe you can travel anywhere around the world and you can have a stamp on your passport, but if you don't know someone there personally, intimately, then I personally don't believe you've been there. When you could sit behind your TV and watch the news of a bombing happening somewhere, something happening bad in the world, and you know someone there personally, not that you've just been there, and you feel that pain, that's really traveling. And what I've known is I've done all these things, and they're great, and they're fun, and they're wonderful, and impactful, and powerful, but I've learned more by relationships, and I've experienced more. We got to replace this idea of this intimacy with knowledge. We try to gain so much knowledge to help people, but how do we learn how to be intimate? And how do we learn how to be relational with people? And that's it. And so I really wanted to just say 3 things I want you to walk away with, I guess. I'm just going to say it. I don't want you to, I hope that you feel it. But I guess the first one would be, if you have a mentor, if you have someone that's ever impacted your life or spoken to your life, whether it was 5 days ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, to just reach out and say thank you and appreciate them. They don't need it, and maybe they don't expect it, but it's really powerful to do that, to reach out to someone that's impacted your life, whether it's your parents calling your mom after this or right now. That's cool. That'd be kind of sweet. But just to reach out and send them a text message or a phone call and say, hey, 5 years ago, that conversation we had or that season of my life I was going through, I just want to appreciate you for that. The second thing is to start having the conversation with yourself of what it looks like to seek a mentor, to seek someone that can start pouring into you and helping guide you through these struggles, that we don't Google it anymore, that we can actually have an intimate relationship with someone older than us, whether it's your parents or whether it's a professor or whether it's you might just go outside and meet someone. The guy from the airplane, we did switch information, and I hope we become friends because he's really cool. He's like a 78-year-old guy, and he was just so awesome. And so, and then the third thing is, I'm from Denver, Colorado, so I don't know too many organizations here, but if you ever get the chance to sit down with your friends and hang out and start talking about, get a whiteboard and start writing organizations that need mentors. I know the school does a mentorship program I heard about, which is cool. But just to be the person you wish you had growing up and be the person you wish you had now. Just as we get to travel into the future and talk to ourselves and gain wisdom, we get to travel into the past and be there for ourselves. Because we know that it gets difficult in high school and college, even post-college, and even 30 to 35-year-olds right now. I meet with a lot of them and talk about different projects they're trying to start. And I see the same thing happening as these 30-year-olds. They feel like they left their 20s with no fruit, like nothing to show for it. And now they're like, I just want to chase my passions and help people, and it's really powerful to see. And then you guys coming out here today. So I just want to say thank you so much, and seek a mentor and become a mentor. Thank you.